musical, linguistic objects.
Greetings from Cyberdelic Space. This is Lorenzo, and I'm your host here in the Psychedelic Salon. And I'd like to begin by first thanking two more Amazon reviewers of my Kindle format novel, The Genesis Generation, and who go by the handles Psychonautic A and Skittens. And additionally, I must admit to being greatly remiss by not thanking all of our fellow saloners who have taken their time to write a customer review of this podcast at the iTunes store. To be honest, I'd kind of forgotten about that since I don't go to the iTunes store very often. So the last time that I checked, I guess it must have been a couple of years ago, the number of reviewers had jumped from 15 to 30-something in its first few years on iTunes. But just now I thought that maybe I'd better take another look at it since I've been going out of my way to thank the recent Amazon reviewers of my books. Well, I was shocked to discover that there are now 143 customer ratings with an average of 5 stars. Gosh, how do I say thank you to such, to me, is an overwhelming response to these podcasts. So I'm now getting today's program out a bit late since I took the time to read them all. And that, my dear friends, is all the encouragement that I need to keep these podcasts coming your way. You've made an old man, but old in years only, and who still feels 15 inside. And recently one of my grandchildren told me that I act like I'm only 5. So nonetheless, no matter my inside or outside age, you have all made me a very happy man. Now, as you'll hear in just a few moments, what I've been thinking of and mentioning as a small little talk with just a few people present may have been way off track because in just a few minutes you're going to hear Dr. Timothy Leary say something to the effect that the conference they are attending has some 200 or so people present. But it still sounds to me as if he's in a small room with only a few people there. So maybe this was a little spin-off from a larger conference. Of course, the actual setting doesn't matter as much as what he has to say. And so now we'll rejoin the good doctor and his German friends way back in 1983, which, if you keep up with the lore of Terence McKenna, you will recognize is a very important year in the history of what we now call the psychedelic resurgence.
I'll tell you another story. This is a very dangerous story. It's about an animal. Let's say it's a dog. The dog's name is, I don't know. Call him Dog. Mr. Dog. He's a very happy dog. He lives in a house. He has a good master. And every morning, 10 o'clock, they bring the food. And he lives in, there are no animals around. So the dog lives a very good life. He wakes up in the morning, he goes out and goes around, comes back, and the dog has 3 fleas, one here, one there. And then he goes and he has his dinner. And then he goes, he lies down in the sun. He goes to sleep. And then he wakes up, he scratches one flea. This is one happy and successful dog. No problem. Except, one day he wakes up, and he runs around, and gets lazy, just 5 miles away, there is a female dog, Fräulein dog, who is who needs some spermatozoa. She sends out a signal of scent and pheromones, goes for 5 miles like a big red neon electric signal. And it comes to the dog. Fun. Suddenly, the dog is a consumer of a product that he didn't know he needed or wanted 5 minutes before. Now he runs 5 miles. He gets there. There are other dogs who study Charles Darwin. I think this conference in Salon is a wonderful conference, and I've thought a great deal about the people who have come here. And everyone at this conference is a good person. It's a friendly person, and a person who wants to grow. And, a lot of energy comes from a conference like this because everyone at this conference will go home and we'll be sending out signals. Different signals because you're different people and you've got different stages of evolution, different kinds of intelligence at the conference. It's very interesting to see the effects of what happens from 200 people like us coming together. And I'll go back to America and I'll talk about Germany and the way information moves out that way. I talked about 7 kinds of intelligence. The first intelligence is biological intelligence. That's to stay healthy and to avoid pain. The second is emotional intelligence, how to interact as a social person in an intelligent way with others so that you don't make them angry or allow them to crush you. Or emotional intelligence is a very early form of intelligence. Emotional intelligence, fear, power, jealousy are mammalian stages of intelligence. We have biological intelligence. Biological intelligence, you have to get the right food to keep healthy. Emotional intelligence, you have to know how to go through the human jungle without banging people. I was in prison once for 42 months. And it's very interesting to be in a prison because in a prison you can't escape. You can't get out either from the guards or from other prisoners. So in a prison, if you make an emotional mistake, you can't go away because the next day, if you hurt another convict's feelings, in ordinary life, we meet, we go to the office and hello or something like that. Or, no, I'm sorry, too busy. Call tomorrow. You can emotional interactions. You can stay away from people you don't like, so that this person is like that, you won't go to that restaurant. You can move around. But in a prison, you have to really face the mirror of your emotional actions. So I can remember I wake up in the morning and I get out of my cell. This is a big prison, there's a half-mile big hallway. I'd walk down the hallway and I would meet 100 prisoners. And I would have to know, that one is from the group that doesn't like my cell. So I go, this one is very important. And I say, hey man, how you doing? Good. This is hello? This one? No, because you had to know exactly how to interact with each prisoner, or it could cause a chain of events that cause trouble. The third stage of intelligence that we talked about is verbal communication, mental, making of tools. And the individual, human beings, this comes between the ages of 2 and 3 and 9. Then the fourth level of age of intelligence was the social. And the fifth was the aesthetic, erotic. And the sixth was programming your brain. And the seventh was genetic. And today we're going to talk about the eighth kind of intelligence. A book. A book. One book was like CBS television. It would take 30 writers in a monastery 30 months to make one book. And the book was owned by the king or by the pope. And one book was worth like owning the television franchise in Brion, right? Then Gutenberg, and then at the printing press, so that they could make 100 books a day. It's 700 books a week, 3,000 books a month. So pretty soon, everyone had a book, and hands-on, you could open up your own book. Whereas before, you could never touch the big book because it was so valuable. You had to have a rope around it, and the priest would read, or in some cases in the church, the big book would be here, and I would read from it. You'd be down there. Oh, that's right. It was a pretty place. Everybody gets the book, and with it now, you can take a pencil, and you can change the book. So the idea of Gutenberg is the idea of hands-on, and that caused the Protestant Reformation, the idea that every person could pray to God, started capitalism, started all those things. So that at the sixth level of brain-computer, hands-on is the idea that you program your own brain. And then in genetics, in genetic intelligence, you can program your own genetic evolution. Now that's a very powerful concept. If you can change, or if I can change my DNA, there will come a time when cloning will be very intelligent, maybe. Now, I don't think it's a good time to clone. Well, I think it would be funny to have 100 Timothy Larrys and every night at midnight in Greenwich time, for 10 minutes, but I'll get on the telephone and say, what did you do today? Well, I went to Salon. Whatever. Germany. Oh, yeah, that's good. What did you do? Oh, yes, you were in Ronald Reagan? Well, how'd the movie do the first weekend? Grossed 20 million. Well, not bad. All the Timothy Larrys are very busy. And some don't even come to the phone because they're having such a good time. But now is not a good time to clone because we're on one planet. One planet is like one little nest. This planet is a small little planet. It's only 25,000 miles around. It's mainly water anyway. So this is a small little planet. This planet is too small to have 100 Timothy Learys running around. So we wait. But in 100 years, we have living in space for 200 years, and we'll have made many space homes. And well, it'll be nice to visit some other stars, because there are other stars with other planets. They speak English and German, I hope. It'd be nice to visit other stars. But the problem is, to go from one star to another takes thousands of years. So that for us to get there in our bodies, we would have to do two things. We'd have to, like in 2001, incubate or hibernate. Or another thing, we could just make a little package, and have in that package all of the biological, organic, pre-living chemicals. We take yourself, and we make 100 of you, put one of you in each of these packages, and send them out to 100 along. No, you can go too. Matter of fact, why don't we all go together? We'll make up a little package called the Sour Lime Bed. And we'll all be there. 2,000-3,000 years. Package would land on the planet, and box would open up, and chemicals would be there, and then suddenly, one morning the sun would come out, it would hit the little package, we'd all wake up. Well, here we are again. Planet Earth is 1,000 years away. And O'Connor comes and said, Rudolph Steiner Smith.
Really?
Right? And we talk about Steiner.
It's possible.
It's possible. If it's possible, then it's probable, and maybe we can do it. Anyway, that's genetic intelligence. The 8th level of intelligence is called out of the body experience. Well, by the way, I should tell you that at every level of these 8 stages of intelligence, you have to turn your brain on to the circuits that are used at that level of intelligence. And there are ways to change the human brain to different stages. The things that change your brain are called drugs. Now, if you want to turn your brain to the programs that have to do with health, and at every level, to use your brain, you have to have hardware. For example, when your brain turns on to talk to it, you have to have the hardware of throat, lungs to send the air up. That means that you cannot open up your third circuit when you're still underwater, because then you wouldn't be able to talk underwater or to write. So there are, every stage of intelligence, there is a drug that can help you to access or go back to this level, and there's hardware that you need. Suppose someone, the first level is biological intelligence. Suppose someone has an accident outside the hotel, picked up car, lying on the ground, and they're in great pain and having trouble breathing. So we might do, and the more pain, the more motion, and the harder to breathe. So a doctor might come and say, well, we will take away the pain by giving the patient a drug, usually an opiate. Oh, I feel much better. My arm is broken, but it's all right. Opium is wonderful. I don't feel the pain. I lost my job. My suit's ruined from the accident. My wife or husband ran away. That's all right. I don't feel any pain. And then the doctor comes and puts some oxygen and breathing. Patient recovers. So the drug programs the brain that there's no pain, and the oxygen or the bandages are the hardware that are needed. So at every level of intelligence, there's a drug that can put your brain to that level, and there's hardware around. Now, an intelligent person knows how to program the brain. An intelligent person would never use a drug or use the hardware in a situation where it isn't perfectly right for that situation. For example, if we were to give someone here, anyone, a strong dose of heroin, who should we do it to? Connor. We gave him a strong dose of heroin. 2 minutes later, he's smiling. But he wouldn't hear a word I was saying. So maybe that was good, I don't know, maybe not. You know? So for the 8 big stages of intelligence, there's a drug that can get you to that stage. Now, be very careful because what I'm going to teach you now is how to move your brain around using drugs. What is a drug? A drug is a chemical that goes into the receptor site in the brain to open up the circuit of your brain. A drug is an access code. So you should be very careful when you use a drug because you're opening up. If you're feeling pain, the drug to make your body feel good is the opiate. Now the opiate is very dangerous because it tells your brain everything's good, everything's fine. But at the hardware level, you're nodding out and you don't know whether it is or not. So that opiates should be used only when you know what's causing the pain and you have done something about the pain so the pain is no longer a signal, and then you want the pain to go away. You know, if you have a toothache, the thing is to do not is to take heroin, because you take heroin, you know, say if you wake up and you got toothache, but you got a ache here, so then you're running around, you take more heroin, and then you've still got the toothache, but now you want this. So the thing to do if you have a toothache, go to the dentist. Doctors, I'm not wasting. Go to the dentist and have the dentist take out the tooth. Oh, he takes out the tooth. Ooh, cut. Ooh, oh, that. No, it hurts. Doctor, it hurts. Okay. For Opiates, okay? Only 4. Leave your home. Take an opiate, go to sleep, you wake up this morning, and the pain is gone, tooth is all right. That's how to use an opiate. Now for the emotional stage of evolution, the drug that brings out emotions, the drug, the little person doesn't like his boss, takes this drug, tells the boss. The drug that makes people very emotional, of course, is alcohol. And you had a measure of the emotion, adrenaline. I get a measure of adrenaline in everybody. And we walked out and went around the hotel, down to the bar. It's 11 o'clock. There's more adrenaline going than the next 24 hours. The drugs you make for the mental intelligence level, so you can deal with symbols faster, are energizers. See that? Just what's it? Coffee? And I'm talking faster? And very levels. Emotional intelligence, mental intelligence. I'm spinning out those words faster. Energizing it. The trouble with an energizer. Energizers are wonderful because they do give you energy and they do allow you to say faster and put it all in. The problem is that energizers don't make your words any better. There's more words. So, sometimes we have a party in Los Angeles, and we'll invite some friends over, and they use cocaine. Use cocaine at midnight. Now, to use cocaine at midnight guarantees that at 5 in the morning you're going to be wide awake. I'm talking like this. So, I go to bed and I wake up, sleep for 8 hours, and wake up, and even there my cocaine friends are still talking. What did they say? No importa. The drug for normal social life is, of course, the tranquilizer. Now, the 8th circuit of the brain is very interesting. And it's very interesting because, in honor of Dr. Kubler-Ross, we would call the 8th circuit of the brain the death circuit. Because Dr. Ross, Kubler-Ross, has written, said, talked, many scientists have said that the moment of death or of traumatic accident, when the person may think she or he's dying, there are moments of revelation. I saw my whole life. It's been well known. Dr. Kubler-Ross has written a lot about it. It's called the dying experience. And the dying experience, well, it's very logical from the standpoint of the computer. When the heart stops beating, thump, thump, that's the end. The brain, good morning. We have talked about how to walk and how to use your emotions intelligently so that you don't, and how to communicate intelligently, and how to arrange your environment so that everything's beautiful and erotic and hedonic. And make love intelligently, use DNA intelligently. Now we're going to die intelligently. I'm saying that when the heart stops, this will be fun for us. I'll talk and then you give me a grade. I'm a little nervous. Oh, well, we'll have some fun, huh? I may die of embarrassment right here in front of you. But I'll die happy. When the heart stops the last time, boom. The brain knows what's going on in every part of the body. So when the heart squeezes out its last few messages, the feet and the extremities, forget them, and everything starts to close down from the outer. And there goes the knee, and uh-oh, we just lost the left. Save the genitals. Forget the stomach, yeah. All right, let the sphincter muscle go, that's all right. We'll clean it up in the morning, or else they will. The brain keeps the last oxygen, the last blood sugar. The brain is so programmed that the official cause of death is brain death, and your body can die, and if your brain is alive, they can bring your body back. You all know that very well. So, from the time that the message goes from the body, it's all over. The brain, which has between 10 and 40 billion computers, they're still functioning. And they're functioning also, the lines are down to the, we don't care anymore about the breathing or about the stomach. The brain is free to just communicate with itself. Now, we're talking about a network of between 10 and 40 billion computers that are all can communicate with each other with no problems about oxygen or about reproduction or about illumination, because the body's gone. So that I've always thought logically, neurologically, time after the last heartbeat stops for 2 or 3 or 4 minutes, the brain is still going. It's timeless. That you can obviously process more information during that period than you could if you're down here. So that it's absolutely right, and you're a genius to teach humanity this. If you understand how to die, then you understand how to live. And now there is, John Lilly in his research of ketamine. When you take ketamine is called an ideal anesthetic because it turns off all the signals to the brain, but it leaves the body working perfectly. So it's like parking your car, and you get out of your body, and there's no fear because you know that the body's working fine, but you've left the body. And people usually say, I've died, like a death experience. But that's all right, because your emotions are turned off. So even if you wanted to be upset about the fact that you've left the body, you can't be upset, because the upset dial is adrenaline, right down there. You have to get all the way down to the body and turn on the adrenaline, and the adrenaline would come out, and the adrenaline would go along the bloodstream to the pancreas, and then down to the liver, and up to the heart to make the heart beat faster. But that can't happen because you're cut off from the body, so that there's you can't be emotional. You can't be afraid because... So, the Ketamine experience is very much like the dying experience. It is a hands-on dying experience. It means that John Lilly says that he dies every time he takes ketamine. And then 2 hours later he comes back. Now, remember that the concept of the evolution of intelligence is the concept of hands-on. So that hands-on genetic intelligence, we can change DNA, and we don't have to be victims of the irreversible genetic process. We can inoculate ourselves so that the cells in our body make DNA changes so that they can deal with diseases like smallpox. We have sex change operation. We talked about that the other day. So now if someone is a boy and wants to be a girl, they can change the external genitalia. They can change the hormones. They can re-imprint their brain so that they look like a girl. He thinks like a girl. He walks like a girl. He talks like a girl. He says he's a girl. Well, okay. That is genetic intelligence, when a human being can change the most genetic of all characteristics. So that's genetic hands-on. Body intelligence is hands-on, whereas that your body is not an instrument for the company. Your body is an incredible possibility for beauty, pleasure. It would be possible to have a clinic for Dr. Lilly where Dr. Lilly could train people in the art of dying. There's one problem with ketamine. There's a problem with every technology. The problem with opium is that it makes you feel good, but it doesn't do good. The problem with the tranquilizers is they go outside and they make you feel all right, but still things don't change. The problem with hedonic erotic drug is that if you take it in a situation where you're supposed to be working, it's very unpleasant. But the problem with ketamine is, have you talked to John Lilly recently? Have you read it?
Not recently, but clearly.
The problem with John Lilly is he's taken ketamine a lot. And he says, ketamine is not addictive. You don't, physically. And the problem is that the dying experience is so interesting that after 4 hours, you don't want to come back to life. Now that isn't that a terrible addiction that, of course, he's not addicted, but he has discussed this at times. Like, if you come to John Lilly's home, or if he comes to your home, and there's a party, and people are drinking wine, smoking cigarettes, talking about psychology. John Lilly will say, well, I'd rather go upstairs and die. I'd rather die than go to that party. Upstairs. John Lilly, it's very funny. Highest level of wisdom is the learning how to die intelligently. And why bother about Psychology and conferences, World War III, discover the wheel, discover LSD, discover the computer. If you know how to die gracefully and elegantly and intelligently, why bother with all the foreplay?
You were interrupted, I think, when you're talking about tranquilizers at the social stage.
Yes.
And I was really interested in the drug progression.
Yeah, okay. Opiates, alcohol, energizers, tranquilizers, pleasure drugs. Well, cannabis is the basic pleasure drug. For brain-computer intelligence, LSD. I believe that a drug like LSD, really you have to live in the computer age to know something about how to use the brain, most likely with LSD. And in the past, when people would use drugs like LSD, they would use the language of the past, and the language 300 or 400 years ago, the language of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. The Tibetan Book of the Dead is 49 days or 49 stages of time, and they're all the hallucinations and the visions and the ecstasies that the brain can produce. But the Tibetan Book of the Dead was written about over 2,000 years ago, so that they couldn't talk about nuclear energy or about DNA. So that there were devils and demons and people with wings and good saints and bodhisattvas and Dhyanic Buddhis and all that. Don't trust anyone born before 1946. Of course, when I'm with kids, I say, don't trust anyone born before 1965. I won't say that here. People get very upset. You can't get the generations against each other that way after all, you know. We have enough trouble here stirring around, generation wars. And I say, well, we'll make a deal. We'll say, don't trust anyone that hasn't changed their minds since 1946. But it's up to you to prove it, Let me say your mind here. There's a concept called temporal geography. That is, the generation you belong to is in as many ways as important as the spatial geography. Because when I walked yesterday and I saw the two generations of Germans, the young Germans live in a space which is different from the older Germans. So that's temporal geography. They inhabit the same zip code, not for long of it, but so that the clever thing to do is every generation up until now has been a ship, like a Titanic. It's doomed to go down. And gradually, people born before 1946, there are fewer and fewer of them. Pretty soon there'll be a few of them. There'll be Reagan in a wheelchair, and just in turn, get the bomb, get the wheelchair over here. They'll be 90 years old, and they'll still be fighting Russia or whatever like that. But they're not going to stay around. Your generation is a sinking ship. So the intelligent thing to do is to jump ship. My generation, my people, my age, are causing all the trouble in the world today. And I have jumped their ship. I've jumped over to the 60s generation. Now, I didn't do that. I said to them, come. And I went to all my friends and I said, come on, I said, come on. Don't go down with the ship, come on. They love the ship. They've been trained to go down. Matter of fact, they're supposed to go down. They'll argue that you have to have death in order for life, blah, blah, blah. They're going to go to heaven anyway, so... the trick is, particularly now, every generation has its new language, its new way of thinking, its new music, its new style, and you can continue to jump from generation to generation. There's no reason to feel that you're trapped even by, you can move your... See, 3,000 years ago, they developed a theory of reincarnation because there was no place to go. If you were living in the Ganges, Calcutta, would take, where could you go? It would take like 3 months to hike to Delhi. There was nothing there anyway, and you'd probably get killed. And so, since there was no place to go, you were stuck and trapped there. Then they invented reincarnation, which was a clever thing, so you'll come back the next time and you'll get to Delhi. I had a wonderful teacher when I was in the Himalayas. His name was Sri Krishna Prem, and he said, you want to see the secret of the universe? I said, yes. He took me in his study, and he pulled out a map of the world. And I said, what's that? And he said, what do you think the Buddha would have said if he had seen that and known that you could fly from here to here in like 6 hours or 8 hours, But the same thing is true of time, that you can jump time. And it is also true that I don't want to be making fun of older people because, and this is an absolute navigational fact, you can only go as far into the future as you understand and really respect and love the past, because our function, I think, as evolutionary agents is to bring everything and everyone from the past with us. And I have inside my body several trillion, I'm not boasting, I have several 100 million sperm, and I have several trillion different forms of bacteria. And if I leave and go to a spaceship or to another, I'm bringing with me, I'm transporting. I'm like Noah. I'm like Noah's Ark. So that we are the greatest favor we can do as individuals to our species or to life itself is to evolve and become smarter and to migrate and go farther, because we're going to bring everything with us. And I think that the people that do evolve into the future, both in space and in time, are probably selected by their gene pool. We're experiments from our gene pools, and as we look around this room, there are many different gene pools, and DNA always works that way with, probabilities, and they throw some ahead. All of us in this room, the very fact that we're here studying self and self-development and so forth, means that we are an advanced part of our gene pool. We're probes, we're scouts, and we have to give up certain things in order to do that. We don't have the solidity that, and it is more complicated, and you make a fool of yourself, and it's a very valuable role. Now, why don't we take a break now, and then migration and neurogeography. Where you are determines who you are. And it's almost a law in evolution that migration leads to mutation. And migration leads to an expansion or increase in intelligence. So that if you want to increase your intelligence, you should put a lot of mileage on your neurological equipment. Because every time you change and live in a different place, you're doing an incredible number of things. Number one, you're picking up the local bacteria, which is wonderful. You're also picking up, of course, the new ways of adjusting, new languages, new. It's simply you're adding, you're increasing your intelligence. A butterfly from Canada will fly 5,000 miles, monarch butterfly, to one tree in Guatemala or Central America. There's incredible intelligence of migration. The best way to evolve is to migrate to those places where there are people who are specialized in the kind of intelligence that you want to master. And it's a very simple rule. We say now that the two most important numbers about any human being is the year you were born and your zip code.
That's the key to humanity. We must now look to the future. In the past, there was no future. The very idea of a future is very new. You couldn't talk future to the Ayatollah Khomeini. You could not talk future to the Inquisition that burned Bruno at the stake. The very idea, the very word future is a revolutionary word, like evolution and intelligence. All right, number one, drugs. I shall not talk about drugs in Germany. Except there are many new drugs. Neurology is teaching us how the brain works. The brain has receptor sites for different drugs. There's a morphine receptor site. There's a Hoffmann-La Roche receptor site. There's a Sandoz receptor site. They are discovering that there are hundreds of receptor sites for drugs that we are now discovering. So the use of drugs by human beings, marijuana, meth, LSD, alcohol, it's just beginning. Every month in America and in Switzerland and in Germany too, I think, there are new drugs that make people smarter, remember better, feel better, sense better, make love better. So there are many, many, many new drugs. Also, in America, there are many scientists working on life extension. I talk to these men. I read their manuscripts. They say within 2 to 10 years, there will be a pill, an inoculation, that will double the human lifespan. No! No, says the old. They asked American people, do you want to live 200 years more? No, my marriage will not stand it. Do you want to live 200 years more? No, I'm bored now with television. If you're going to live a long time, you have to know how to become smarter. If you know how to program your brain, boom, 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 you can learn, change, grow, but you need more time. You need more time. We're going to go into space migration. We're going to, in 10 to 20 years, we could build all this valley in space, cheaper than we do it down here, and better food. We are not little bugs crawling along, how do you say barnacles? On a ship, you know a ship has barnacles? We are not little bugs holding on to this planet. Now, we have the intelligence to get the escape velocity to leave. So we're going to leave the planet. There are many places to go. There are many people out there right now having conferences and other planets thinking about coming to see us. The universe is filled with intelligence. The universe is an enormous field of energy intelligence. And we're learning how to measure this. The key to evolution is the individual, the intelligent individual, the self, finding the self within. As Fritz Kreuger said in the Frankfurter Ring, the forgotten divinity within. The key is within. The intelligence is within. It is our job as humanists to tell our friends inside the brain, inside DNA, is the key for human evolution. Thank you.
You're listening to the Psychedelic Salon, where people are changing their lives one thought at a time.
The key is within, so says the good Dr. Leary, and I happen to agree with him. However, he also said, don't trust anyone born before 1946. Good advice. And by the way, I was born in 1942, and so I hope that you aren't putting any stock in what I say. The fact is that I've changed my mind. In fact, I've changed my entire worldview several times in my life. You know, if you knew me back 40 years ago and we just now got back together, you'd be shocked at how much I've changed. So the possibility exists that even a decade from now, assuming I'm still alive and kicking, well, I might yet change once again. In fact, I'm thinking about jumping the old generational ship yet again and joining that wonderful generation born just after 1998 or so. And in case you didn't guess, my oldest grandchild was born in 1999, and so I want to be sure to include all 5 of them in the next generation that I join. Anyhow, I hope you don't think that my ideas are anything more than stepping stones to your own conclusions about what this world and this life is all about. About the only thing that I've come up with, about which my opinion has never changed, is that this life is really strange, but ever so interesting. And speaking of interesting, my dear friend Diana Slattery, and an early benefactor of the Salon, to which she donated a huge cache of Terence McKenna tapes, and which I think now make up probably the largest portion of Terence's talks that I've podcast so far. Well, anyway, Diana has another interesting project that just kicked off, and here's part of the announcement that she sent out the other day. The Institute for the Encouragement of Outrageous Ideas is delighted to announce the launch of the Psychedelics and Language website. Created by Dr. Diana Slattery of the Department of Xenolinguistics, the website provides extensive information about the bizarre linguistic phenomena, alien scripts, morphing symbolic systems, glyphs of living language crawling on every surface of a multidimensional world, encountered in altered states of consciousness. These new forms of language, glimpsed in the psychedelic sphere, and the equally novel ideas about language they suggest, point to the co-evolution of language and consciousness, catalyzed by psychedelic medicines. Now, if that doesn't get your attention, I don't know what will. And if you know Diana, you recognize the fact that this is a very wise and experienced professional woman, and that these ideas, these outrageous ideas that many of us have had from time to time, can actually be studied, professionally studied. And this is no small matter, and I hope that you'll follow the link to Diana's new website that you'll find in the program notes for this podcast, and which, as you already know, you can get to via psychedelicsalon.us. Now, about next week. My plan is to play the next part of that Terence McKenna workshop that he led on Maui in 1994, and which hasn't before found its way to the net. However, I've run into a little snag and may have to skip that for a couple of weeks. But if I don't get that particular McKenna talk out then, The program will feature the highlights of that first morning of the recent Salon workshop that Bruce Damer and I led. And that segment is titled, A Deep Dive into the Mind of Terence McKenna. So one way or another, our next guest here in the salon will be the spirit of the Bard McKenna. Until then, this is Lorenzo signing off from Cyberdelic Space. Be well, my friends.